And we are wrestling with Triple A. What is the name of this show?
Noche Los Grandes.
There you go. Noches de Grande. It took place last Saturday, and it was in Arena Monterrey and Monterrey Nuevo Leon. And yeah,
Mexico City for just.
I feel like this was, out of all the wrestling we saw, well, technically last month, like this was the show to watch. I mean, if you wanted an access point to what a big time Mexican pro wrestling event was or is, this was as big as it got, I would say. Like, this was definitely a good entry point to see, what true, traditional lucha libre is. Like, you would have to, this was as lucha as it is, without watching mucha lucha. This was mucha lucha libre. So, like, this, I think that this kind of hit all the marks that it needed to, the way that it did. So, all in all, I couldn't have complained. But what was your take on this show, Kaliko?
I mean, personally, I've been telling you to watch this for like the last 5 months, so I don't.
It's been around 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks.
No, I've been telling you to watch it the last 5 months because that thing was it's been some shit. Plus, it gets your Spanish up. So, but anyways, but yeah, no, it's been, the stories there have been there, and it's been on. It is crazy. Because I'm like, wait a minute, the Undertaker can do this, but I'm also skeptical because remember, everyone was like that with Triple H, and then Triple H got in charge, and everybody kind of hate him now. So you don't know, yeah. So you don't know, is it because he's actually doing it and they're letting him cook, or is it they just not paying attention? And once it starts to try to be a money maker, they're gonna make him do shit that he doesn't want to do. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of difficult to assess, if you will.
I mean, it feels like Taker is cooking like Michaels is. They'll let him cook, and he's cooking well. Obviously, but I mean, Triple H, it's too many chefs in the kitchen, I would say. Too many pivots, too many things that, too many masters to serve, and that's kind of why things are the way that they are.
That is true.
But yeah, who knew that Undertaker could fucking cook as good as he did, as he is?
Or could it be him just sitting there going, you know what, I ain't got nothing to do with this, y'all do this, and I'm just going to sit back and make some tweaks. Who knows?
I mean, sure, why not? But let's get into it. First match on the card, Rey Fenix defeated Laredo Kid to win the AAA World Cruiserweight Championship in 11 minutes 52 seconds. It seemed a bit longer than that. I don't know why, but I mean, it was a good match. It was, like I said, as lucha as you could get in a match. Rey Fenix and, Laredo. They lucha'd as much as they could lucha. And, I mean, it was a solid lucha match. I think it was good. I kind of feel bad for Rey that, he signed with WWE just to be sent to AAA and win AAA championships when his brother is, obviously one of the bigger stars on the main roster and killing it as, Intercontinental Champion. But, again, I thought that this was a good solid match and a good solid match to start the show as well. What say you, Kaliko?
Well, I've been the guy that's been paying attention to this shit. So essentially the whole story was essentially about the Laredo Kid. The Laredo Kid was the longest reigning champion in that division at that time. Ray Phoenix they both kind of were on the spectrum of competition. And then the fact that the competition kind of went too far because Ray Phoenix beat him and Laredo took it some kind of way. So essentially, Ray Phoenix talks, and this is for those who hasn't watched the last couple months. So Ray Phoenix talks Laredo into defending the title at said show, and Laredo has just slowly but surely just been like, I didn't want this by any means necessary. F you and F the honor of competition. I'm going to do it by any means, which is why the story kind of went the way it went in the match of him hitting him below the belt, trying to yank the turnbuckle off, all that jazz. So that's why it was long, because it needed to tell the story of Laredo's insecurity about winning on his own, coming back to bite him in the ass. That's what the story was.
But what did you think about the match?
Oh, and that was the point. I like the match because that's the angle it was taking.
Right. How many stars you give this one?
It's a solid 4. I give it a solid 4.
I give it 3.5. Good, solid opener. Not as, not the most memorable thing on the card, I'd say, but definitely a solid way to open the show, as for sure.
I mean, it solid as it was gonna get. I mean, but then again, if you've been paying attention, that's the only thing. If you've been paying attention to the storyline AAA has been selling, a lot of these stories kind of made a lot of sense,
right,
if you will.
But I will say this: everything that these guys were doing, and not just on the show, the crowd was eating it up. Like the crowd here, the last couple of shows, not just WWE, but crowd-wise, have been eating up these shows, and it's been fantastic to see the crowd, really into the show and, enjoying what they're watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but because the story, but then again, all of this has been making sense because all of the stories in AAA have been making sense.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying in general, because that show the AEW did a couple of weeks ago, the Double or Nothing, like that crowd was into that shit. And the next night in Italy, like the crowd was really into everything that they were doing. So we've been getting some really good crowds as of late, I would say.
Oh yeah, that just shows you how spoiled America has been. But that's a whole nother issue for another day.
Did Dave Meltzer review this match?
He did, because you know why? I know he did.
Why?
Never mind. I'm not going to spoil it for you. See, that's where we just going to play a game of guess that. You thought I was going to give you the answer? No, because you cheat. Anyways, we're going to play another game, another round, another session of Guess the Rating. No hand clap, but we'll take it.
I feel like Dave Meltzer was totally into this 4.25.
You cheating bastard. See, that's why I didn't want to tell you. See, right there. Do you see why now?
Hey, I know. Unfortunately, I know what Dave Meltzer likes. Unfortunately, and this was right up his alley.
I know what Dave like. All right, we'll see when you get. We'll see when it gets there.
Next match, El Hido del Vikingo defeated El Hido de Dr. Wagner Jr. to capture the AAA Latin American Championship in 7 minutes and 19 seconds. And this was every bit of that 7 minutes and 19 seconds. Solid match. People know I'm not a big fan of Vikingo. And yeah, I think everybody played to their strength. Everybody did a lot of great work in this match. There was a lot of gaga, with Omos coming out. Um, Dr. Wagner's brother, who is a big meaty man, and yes, he did slap meat with Omos. That was like a match in its own, honestly. But then we had a mini Vikino, which is actually bigger than the real Vikino. Um, and yeah, I think that consider again, I'm not the biggest fan of Vikino, but I did really dig this match, and I wasn't that mad that he won. So I mean, it just kind of tells you how good this match was. Just lots of gaga, lots of craziness, and it all worked out pretty well, in my opinion. What say you, Kalika?
Let's see. For those who hasn't probably watched the last 5 weeks or the last well, 5 months, Vikingo, of course, lost the title, and he's been on a tear, and he wanted to beat up Mini Vikingo. Mini Vikingo and him gets in a match. Dr. Wagner interferes in the match, costing the match, thus Vikingo setting his sights on Dr. Wagner, which is what naturally occurs because he stuck his nose in the business he shouldn't have, and the right person won because Vikingo wins it. It keeps him out of the title picture per se, so he ain't got to worry about that part. But overall, it was a good match. Omos coming in kind of changed how it all went. So I mean, but all in all, pretty good match.
How many stars you give it?
About 3.5. It was good in the sense that it did what it was supposed to do. Was it like all electrifying? No, but the storytelling was there.
Um, I'll give this a 4. I think it was good for what it was. I liked the Gaga, and the Gaga was, good in this match. And the story was, added to it. So, um, you know, all in all, I would say that everybody understood their assignment and everybody executed it perfectly, in my opinion. Right.
I mean,
Uncle,
that's all you can ask for.
right. Right. Then we have, well, Uncle Dave's, rating. Let's see. 3 7/5.
Lower. See?
3.5.
Lower. There we go. Now you ain't cheating, bastard. You cheating bastard.
3 1/4.
Three.
3. Okay.
Flat three.
Flat
Flat
3.
three. I gave it 3.5, but I mean,
Yeah.
I I guess because I paid attention. I mean, Meltzer ain't paying attention to the stories. What the hell? Anyways,
Well, then we have the Viking Raiders defeating Pangano and Psycho Clown to win the AAA Tag Team Championships in 9 minutes 12 seconds. I thought this was a good match. I think that they told this story really well, with the announcers saying, there's been friction between Pagano and Psycho Clown. They're not really liking each other right now. But, they're working actually really well together and things seem okay until something went horribly wrong and then they started throwing fists and they ultimately lost the match. Um, I think it was so subtle and it worked so well in the same regard. Um, I think that was a really good way that they handled this match. That it everything was good until it wasn't, and then the ending was fantastic. Where, Psycho Clown was like, fuck you. I don't want you to be my tag team partner. Screw you. Leave. And then he leaves, and Viking Raiders attack Psycho Clown, and he's like, I'm sorry. Come help me. And Pagano is just like, fuck you. That was probably my favorite part of the match. Um, but yeah, all in all, I say that this was definitely, succeeded as well. What say you, Kaliko? Oh, Kaliko?
Hear me?
I can hear you now.
There we go. I was wondering. Um, Other than the main event, this was the second best cinema of the night. And for those who hasn't been watching the last 5 months, and when I say that, I'm talking to you, James.
I'm just about ready to mute you at this point. Like, I get it.
So what happened? What happened was the reason that this wasn't a one-time incident. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, because what was happening was the fact that the Psycho Circus, somebody been beating up and taking out the Psycho Circus, just like beating them up backstage, and for some odd reason, Psycho Pagano really thought it was Psycho Clown, so he spent all this time just getting in his ass. And when I say in his ass, it was like boot camp in his ass. Just like every time, it's all your fault. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Why is this happening? It's all your fault. You did it. It's all your fault. You did. And one of the biggest what is it? The biggest parts of the story was when they were in the backstage, and Pagano beats up, like pushes Psycho Clown, and they're sitting there having this argument, and Psycho Clown leaves, and then Pagano goes into the locker room, and he sees the teammate beat up. So now he's stuck because he's like, I shit. It couldn't have been Pagano, because Pagano was sitting right with me the whole time. You right? So that's where the friction point, because it was like, okay, is it Pagano? Is it not Pagano? That whole story. So now it comes to the tag match, in which the Raiders took advantage of the fact that that one little thing, that clothesline wasn't it was a straw, but that was the biggest straw that broke the back, because it was just like Pagano froze, because Pagano, already getting months of being berated, was more worried about no, Psycho Clown was getting berated all this month. He's sitting there freezing, thinking, oh shit, he's just gonna get on me even more. To which he did after the match. Which, see how that works? So now they're coming to blows, and Pagano's like, you know what? I'm gonna be the bigger person. I'm out of here. And then that's when Pagano gets beat up, and he's like, please come help me. And Pagano and Psycho Clown, for all intents and purposes, was every bit in the right to be like, bitch, now you want me? Fuck you, I'm gone. That was fucking gold. That was gold. I don't care what you. Now the match wasn't the greatest, no, but the match was important, because that's what needed to. It You can't get to that point without them losing, right? So that
Right.
was the whole purpose of it. So that's what I mean. That was like great. The storytelling in the match was the point, because they were on point until it wasn't. But then when it wasn't, it's kind of like a relationship. Rather than thinking that incident is a one-off, it just instantly goes back to all the bad shit that happened beforehand, and that's what happened, and it costed them the match. But to me, that was like, man,
Right. How many stars you give this one?
I mean, me personally, that's a 4. That's a 4 because from the from match to post match. See, I'm looking at this match to post match 4, bell to bell 3, but the whole thing a 4 because the Viking Raiders had no reason to attack the guy, but they did it because of the fact that the principle of Psycho Clown going, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Right. I kind of agree with you. The match itself wasn't very memorable. Was probably the least memorable thing on this card, but that moment was just fantastic, where he's just like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out." I feel like if I'm just judging the match, it's a 3. Judging it by the extra little added thing, I'd say 3.5.
3.5. But then again, you weren't paying attention. I've been telling you the last. I told you 5 months ago. Do y'all? I was like, Triple H, they doing some shit down there. They doing some shit down there. I mean, but even before even Dominic won the title, like they doing some shit down there, dog. They doing some shit down there, dog.
Uncle Dave, 3 stars.
Lower,
2.5.
lower,
2?
2, which befuddles me because I'm like, I mean, I get the match. If it, it's a subject of opinion, but you cannot. To me, that's the whole thing. I'm judging the whole thing, bell to like from the bell to the whole ending of the Raiders holding the title over fucking Pagano as he's just sitting there like, what the fuck?
Right. I mean, hey, I mean,
Just me.
that's obviously his opinion on it. I never said that Dave was right. But I didn't think it was that bad. That was it's 2-star match by any means. All right, and then we have the the main event, the last match, the reason we were all here, the reason we bought a ticket. El Grande Americano defeated the original El Grande Americano in a mask versus match, no disqualification match. It lasted 33 minutes and 17 seconds. And in all honesty, this was literally the best match of the whole week, maybe the whole month. Maybe is it too soon for match of the year? It definitely
Mm, hmm.
it definitely delivered what it promised, and I feel like this is what wrestling should be, because like you have two. This is what lucha libre main event should be, which is crazy because both guys are not Mexican. In a mask versus mask match, obviously the biggest match in lucha libre, and you know who both guys are, and everybody was willing to suspend their disbelief to enjoy a rivalry, to enjoy what was presented to them. And I think that that's just fantastic in its own. Um, I think the match itself was fantastic. I think these guys beat the crap out of each other. There was a lot of gaga. Obviously with the Creed brothers coming in, and then Rio and Bravo. Then Pinanella came in and got their comeuppance. Everybody got their
Pepe.
comeuppance. Pepe.
See, Pepe. You should have been watching, sir. Pepe got hurt.
Pepe. Pepe, everybody got their comeuppance on the original El Grande, even, Chad Gable's, not Chad Gable, Grande Americano's girlfriend who bought a ticket because she was not allowed in the building. Fantastic storytelling there. Um, and yeah, I think we'll talk about, the unmasking in a moment, but I feel like again, this was Gaga galore. Like the only like did they get Pat Patterson from the grave to book this match? Because it felt like a Pat Patterson classic Gaga match, and I was there for all of it, and I ate it all up, and it was fantastic. But what say you, Kaliko?
Um, there's one thing I disagree about with that,
Okay.
and it's the suspending disbelief, because when it comes to the culture of a masked wrestler, that in itself is the essence of lucha libre and Mexican wrestling. Regardless of how he got there or how it got there under the guise of the premise of Mexican wrestling, of the mass wrestler, of the importance of lucha libre. So that to me is the only thing I disagree, because I don't think it's a suspended disbelief. I think I think that the only way that this match would even have the reverence it does is that if it was done in Mexico under the guise of AAA, because it means a lot to that culture. Because they could have had this on Raw, to be quite honest. They could have had it at Mania. But it was more important to have it at AAA because a mass versus mass truly means something there more so than anywhere else.
Right, and they would have probably gotten the time that it deserved on a WrestleMania.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't have been allowed to breathe the way it did here, which, but with that being said, I think, I personally think this match, I, this match might win match of the year. I ain't finna lie to you. This match just might win match of the year because of the simple fact that that was their WrestleMania 40 moment.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel bad for the group that's going to have to follow it the week after, because that's a hard fucking thing to follow.
Right.
Very, very hard. It's going to be uber hard to follow that shit. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for whoever got to follow that shit.
I think that they recorded the
But
matches prior to that, so I don't think that they did all of that and then they had matches afterwards.
No, there's a second night that's this Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why I say I feel bad, because they got to follow that.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. And I mean, obviously, we'll talk about, match of the year candidates, you know, at another point. But this is definitely one of the more memorable matches this year for sure. And, we're just coming off the, CM Punk, Roman Reigns match from WrestleMania as well. So, I mean, we already have at least two candidates, I would say, in my opinion. Um, but then, obviously, El Grande Americano had to be, the original El Grande Americano had to be unmasked. It turned out to be Chad Gable. Like, who saw that coming? Like, wow, I'm like completely shocked. Um,
I'm shocked.
yeah, it's shocking. Like, it was not on my bingo card, Chad Gable. But I'm glad that, glad to see Chad Gable. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. And I'm, glad to see his face. Um,
I know the last time I saw him was against Vikingo. See, think about that. The last time he fought him, people were loving Vikingo.
right. So, I mean, I would say, and I mean, it's crazy because he dropped that mask and he actually got a face pop. Like, that crowd really, like, turned him, face, I would say. The way that they gave him that admiration and that respect to say, yeah, like, we know and, we appreciate what you did as this character and giving him his flowers. Like, that was, even in losing the match, he kind of won, if I'm being honest. It was just a fantastic moment for him to unmask, reveal that he's Chad Gable. I would hope that WWE would maybe capitalize on that. Obviously, he's coming off of a major event, maybe do something with it. But I mean, that's always been like a major problem when it comes to Chad Gable. Whenever he, you know, hits that glass ceiling, they elevate the ceiling on him. Whether that be, the Gunther rivalry before 40, or, when he was El Grande Americano to begin with, and, obviously he got injured, and, whoever took up the mask, did better than him afterwards. So, I really hope that this is a moment where Chad Gable actually does get, some recognition and maybe, an actual push. Thoughts?
I, uh, it, he's gonna get it, and the reason being is not because of him unmasking. It's what he did after the mask. Is what he said after he got unmasked is what's gonna get him going. Because if you saw on SmackDown, he talked to Ray Phoenix and was like, "Hey, man, he's kind of getting this attrition thing, and that's what it is. It's just like he's trying to get the atonement back. Um, Now you're hoping that the atonement that he gave to the Mexican crowd, that crowd cheering carries over onto the main roster, and it can, as long as he's dealing with luchadors, because of the simple fact that that's who he is atoning to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Um, so that in itself can be something. But I still think that he might come back. I think he'll be back in AAA at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a renaissance for him, because you kind of get the feeling that he got the passion back in it. Granted, he was over like Rover on the American side. The only thing that was killing him because he can't speak Spanish, and the person who actually is the Grande Americano has to be Spanish because his Spanish es perfecto también.
Agrio.
Mi español es muy terrible, pero el grande americano de español habla muy perfecto.
Bluma.
Porque, porque es el novio, because of his girlfriend, who is, I'm sorry, that girl, whoo, smoking. Anyways, but yeah, that match, that match was literally the WrestleMania 40 for AAA. And two matches, who would have thought that the two matches that are candidates, or at least in my opinion, that are candidates for match of the year, both came from WWE, and one of them was from Mexico. So that kind of tells you what's going on wherever that may be. But it also just shows that if you give a story time, it'll tell itself.
They had 6 months to
Because
let
keep
the
in
story.
mind, this story was a story from the Rumble, but even then, it told itself. And for those who did not watch the last 5 months and only picked up from the Royal Rumble, what was happening was the original El Grande was kind of pissed that the El Grande in Mexico was there, so he was just going around backstage whooping everybody ass, which is why the whole Pepe beat the shit out of that person, put them in the hospital, and then that was when Pepe was like, "Do it for the Mexico, por su gente, por la país, for the country. Do it for the country. You're the guy. You need to handle this." And therefore, he took it upon himself to handle it, and it became this thing where they were kind of going back and forth. But then he beat up the handicapped comedian who got his comeuppance by whooping him with the cane, and then Andrea was helping the damn handicapped dude, and Chad just was about to whoop her ass, and that's when that all went really off the rail. That's when it went off the rail because El Grande, that's his girl. But I'm wondering if El Grande gonna get on Ludwig for doing that, because Ludwig just got caught in Florida with his chick. So I mean, he's got more smoke after this anyway. But that's a whole nother subject. So then, of course, El Grande got the girl fired to go over a weak point, and then they weren't supposed to hit, and then he puts the shirt on this girl, and that whole thing. So it basically sold itself in that. But yeah, that was cinema. My son who doesn't know a lick of Spanish was like, "Oh shit!" Like, we were watching that match, and it was like, what? Like, it's funny because he was watching AAA. I was watching the whole thing. He just wanted the mask versus mask, which was crazy. But it lived up to the hype. It lived up to. Was it a little hardcore-ish? Yes, but it it worked in the sense that it just showed the disdain that they had for each other and how much they wanted to, like, because I mean, shit, they were basically, you might as well had to took the mask off mid-match the way they were yanking the motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
So shit. So Gable was literally, his mask was literally hanging by the forehead. That was already busted the fuck up. So I mean,
Right.
but
You know,
yeah, match did it. Match did it. That match did it.
like I said, this was definitely like old school pro wrestling, and even the ending with El Grande celebrating with the kiss from his girl, and the confetti and the fireworks and the adulation from the crowd. It just felt like a picture perfect moment. The only thing I could kind of compare it to in recent memory was, Cody, finishing the story. You have somebody, you relate to, and somebody, you want to see succeed. You know, it's almost impossible to get everybody on the same page nowadays, unfortunately. Everybody thinks differently from each other. But, you get that one thing that gets people to say, well, I identify with this guy. You know, like for Cody, finishing the story. Everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody has a story that they want to finish. And they got behind him because they wanted him to finish his story. And, I think, El Grande kind of has that lightning in the bottle right now when it comes to that. Obviously he's going to, um, the match with Dominic coming up, so I can't imagine that's not a big match for him. I don't know when that match is. But yeah.
It's gonna be at it's gonna be at Triple Mania.
Okay, so in September.
Yeah, it's going to happen at Triple Mania. It's not even a question. Now, whether it's going to be in Vegas or Mexico City, that's a whole different animal. But it's going to happen.
Mexico City, I'd say.
If I had to guess, yes.
Yeah. How many stars do you give this one, Kaliko?
I mean, is infinity a good number? I mean, I was watching this the whole time, and before I give my rating, did you see the serenade? When they did the serenade for El Grande Americano?
Before the match, right?
No, the night prior. Oh yeah, you did. That shit was wild. It felt like a big ass quinceañera mixed with a Mexican party. I'm talking about they were the serenading of him was crazy.
I know what you're talking about.
It was
yes. I
crazy. That shit was wild. Made me wish I was there with the tequila. Para la gente. Anyways, para la gente. Anyways, dare I say a 5? It's gotta be 5.
I couldn't agree with
that. That is possibly the match of the year, but
I couldn't have agreed more with you. 5 stars. Yeah. It was everything that it needed to be and more. It was perfect. Alright. Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave gave this 5 7/5.
I know you cheated because that was all over the internet. I know you cheated, motherfucker.
I totally
cheated. I know you cheated.
I did cheat. Yeah, that was all over the internet. It was impossible not to see it.
Yeah, it was impossible, yeah. Because Meltzer gave it the highest rating since damn Punk Cena.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, fucking Meltzer.
So as a whole, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
I mean, night one, that was a thumbs up night. Because every match had a story, and every part of the stories made sense. If you were paying attention to the stories leading up and watching it on YouTube, it ain't like that shit. Everybody complaining about all these streaming services, and AAA's on YouTube just chilling. Nobody cares. Like, shit, this shit is good.
And it's only an hour as well, so I mean, it's easy to digest. Oh.
Yeah, it's only an hour.
Where was I? Yeah, me as well, thumbs up. Alright, and that will conclude our coverage of, Triple A, Noches de los Grandes.
Noche la Grandes, night 1, because night 2 is tonight.
Yes.
In which we see La Catalina in action.
Yes. Just call them the bakery, because there's a lot of cake in that match.
I don't know, Catalina more flatter than Bailey, but you know what? I'm gonna let that Flamer, not Las Toxicas. Yes, that is a baker's dozen if I've seen them. But
Maybe 2 baker's dozen.
yes, 2 baker's dozens.
Yeah.
And to think she's only 26. Jesus Christ. Anyways,
Flamer's only 26?
yes.
Interesting. Okay, that will conclude our coverage.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.